So this is Baruch Fleischman of the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, and I thank you for joining me with me today to learn some Torah, the secrets of Purim. So what's going on over here is that we found out that who Mordechai is. So we asked the question, okay, we know who Mordechai is, who's Esther? So Esther actually Malchus, right? Esther's Malchus. This is a light, a tremendous light of Abba, which is shining from the outside all around Malchus. And this is a source of tremendous energy and salvation that we all need. Let's go over here and Yisboyer Atam Y, he says, and we are on page Lamed Zayin. In fact, we celebrate Purim every year. But this phenomenon that we're talking about happened at the time of Mordechai and Esther. But it's not enough that it just happened at that time. The reason is, Ki Hashem Yisbarach Baracham of Hashem in His mercy. What He wanted is the shining, the illumination, the glow. He says that what transpires, all of the new energy that is produced as a result of the mochin of Abba V'Ima coming into the Nekeva, Bizman HaDormita, at the time that this Dormita starts. Lo tizbato la'olam b'kol shana, it will never, ever be nullified from appearing every year. V'shana v'shana, b'yom nemachem atzman, on these days themselves. Let's see what the Matak B'Devash says. And I have to excuse me again because it's the Tivah Gavanos, and I'm not quick on pulling it back, but here we are. Let's read the light print and let's see if we can get some detail. Now, Rav wants to come and talk about the secrets that are relative to all of the different holidays and special times. But as we understand in the world of cycles, that this keeps coming back. Same situation. That is the situation of the Dormita, let's say for the birth and death of Moshe Rabbeinu. The ability of Haman to be able to see what's going on in the cosmos. And then everything else. He said, so this nace took place approximately 2,500 years ago. So that was a time when the world was in a certain sequence. But here we says, what makes it different that we should be doing this all the time? And it explains that the days of Purim, we really celebrate them. The Dora is called Shana B'Shana for all the generations every single year. The Purim, it's of who Machmas Zosa Ha'arach HaGedoylach and Niskaras. And if we're going to say, the question is, it was because of the tremendous light that appeared during the time of Purim. But this really, the way we should think about it, is it only happened then, during the times of Mordechai and Esther. So that it was sufficient to run the days of Purim. Only way back then, but not now. So let's read here. Let me see where we're at. We're on number Lamed Tes. It's right here. So we'll read the Tiv, and we'll just pull it in. So it's a Tam, who the reason is Ki Hashem Yisbarach B'Rachma, Hashem in His mercy. Ratza she'osa ha'ara mischadeshes b'hiyos ha'mochen da'abba v'ima zetocha nekeva b'zman ha'dormita d'ziranpin. So that Kodesh Baruch Hu wanted to bring us back, as we used to say in the cowboy movies when I was a kid, in the thrilling days of yesteryear. But He wants to bring us back to that. He said, "Lo tizbato la'olam b'kol shana b'shana," it never become nullified. Every single year it will reappear. On these particular days, on these particular dates. And let's read a little bit here in the tip. The reason why we have Purim every year, Hashem Yisbarach Barachama, that Hashem in His mercy, Ratza, He wanted, Sheha'ara ha'neflo ha'zos, that this tremendous light that is coming out from Mordechai's Ataras Yesod of Mordechai, Shemeir Ataras Yesod the Abba L'chutz, Shena'asim Machmas Hiyos HaMochim the Abba V'hima B'luvash B'toch HaNuk, and this happens because now the Mochim are inside of the Nuk, Bizmana Dormita. Now you can't imagine the amount of Shefa that pours into the Nuk at this time. Atihiyah the Doros. So it should be the celebration of this phenomenon, should be forever. Shebekal Shana b'mecha Purim, because every year, when the time of Purim comes, Nizgala o the Pam, they have the revelation comes again. Zos habechina shal gilu yisod the Abba, this aspect which is called the revelation of the yisod of Abba, and this is the secret of Purim. V'hu b'derech nes, and it happens through a miracle. As we're going to explain, so the reason why we have the holidays is because it's a meeting place for the miracle. So he said this is because of the miracle of bringing back this light of the past. But this light shines even. We've got another, let's see, it's 9 days, I believe, till Purim. He said, so he says, Bizmanu Anu, the Enum is Batelis, and it will never be nullified. Now let's go along a little bit more, and if we could see, we have another couple of minutes. So let's say, Kihine Achar Dormita Hozrim Panabipan, because what happens is that the Dormita brings the Mochim into the Nukva, who normally was receiving any Shefa that she had through Zeranpin. Now the Shefa which comes into Zer Anpin is now leaving Zer Anpin and coming into the Nukva for Hamochim Heim Bezah. Chozim Pana Bepanim. So here's what happens, the continuation of the story. After the Nukva is built up as a result of the Yisodus of Abba V'ima being inside of her, and then all this tremendous light that is around her, and she's built up and becomes independent. He said what happens then is that she now comes face to face with with Zer Anpin, her husband, and they're able to mate. And the Mochin return back to Zer Anpin, but they're in a different position. Because whereas previously she was in the back, they shared a back together. As a result of the entrance of Abba V'ima into the Nukva, she now becomes she develops a backside of her own, strong and independent and full of light. And she moves around to the front of Zer Anpin for mating. And now the Mokim return back into Zer Anpin. That's what he's saying here. He says, Bismana Dormita Zer Anpin, let me see where, Kihine Achar Dormita Chozrim Pana B'Pana, they come face to face. Mochim Heim Bezad, and the Mochim come back into Zer Anpin again. Bechinas Ha'arazu Yotzis Oz Klal Kanizka La'el. So now we have this aspect that we were talking about. Ha'aras Mordechai Mispatelas the Gamra V'Nehalamba Bifnim. And the light of Mordechai then gets sucked back in, or brought back out of the Nukva, comes back into Zer Anpin, where it fits perfectly. And that's the situation that we have after the Megillah. So let's see what this says. Maybe we could pick up a little bit of this in the Tid. So on my page Lamed Ches, the Tid writes like this: Hine kol hadormita im ha'izgalu shalataris yisod Abba, the whole deep sleep of Zer Anpin. And now the revelation of the Yataras of Sod Abba, coming through the Yisod of the Nukva, who rock ba'ofen zmani. It only happens at certain times. K'dei lachzor panav v'panav, and the ultimate reason is that Zocha v'Nuk should come face to face, and that's what it requires in order to reproduce. But then after the Nuk is rebuilt, and now she's no longer facing, she is no longer on Zer Anpin's back, but she's facing him. Eina Yisod the Abba Niknas the Nuk El the Zer Anpin, the Yisod of Abba that was inside of the Nuk and was bringing such tremendous strength to the Nuk, is now inside of Zer Anpin once again. Mamela Av Shavadai Matzav Ha'ara K'Sha'omdim Zer Panim B'Panim Hu Gadol Ma'od V'Harbe Yoser and now we understand that the light that is between the two of them is tremendously powerful. much more so than when she was on his back. B'vadai bismana dormita, and for sure, at the time of the dormita. V'derech klal, so I want to say like this. Kol ha'arash yesh bisman she'omdim ach ba'ach. All the light that exchanged between Zachar and Nuk. In other words, it came into the Zachar and it went over to the Nuk. Vadai sheyeshna gam bisman amidus pana b'pana. That same light, the transfer effect, also exists here. But she's not in his back anymore, she's on his front. Uv'shefa godol yoser, and now there is much more to the light, because now the Nuk is built up into a light force of her own. So that what we said, that the Taras Yisod, which is completely outside of the Nuk, only happens during this period of time leading up to Purim, which is the Dormita. Ve'ein ha'aras Mordechai kayames, b'kiyames bezan ha'gilui, so the Taras of Mordechai, it doesn't continue to stay there like it was revealed. Because the Taras of Yisod of Abba leaves the Nuk and now is hidden inside of Zer Anpin. She Yisod, the Abba mistayim besof Yisod dezah, and it goes back to the situation that it was in before, where it ends at the place of the Yisod Zer Anpin. This is Baruch Fleischman at the Tikkun Elevator Kolo, and I forgot this 15 or 16 year in the Rav.